On today's show, we have Mr. Dmitri Leonov. Dmitri is a serial entrepreneur, investor, and advisor dedicated to revolutionizing wellness and human potential. As a co-founder of multiple wellness tech companies, he's had the privilege to transform over 100,000 lives, from helping people reclaim their time and focus with AI-powered productivity tools to enabling those suffering from debilitating diseases like MS and Parkinson's to live and move pain-free, and empowering the world's top athletes like Novak Djokovic to elevate their game with wearable frequency technologies. His mission is to revolutionize the wellness industry through frequency tech and help 1 billion people thrive and unlock their full potential. He is passionate about leveraging technology to scale human thriving and performance, and loves bringing together pioneering products and thought leaders at humantechweek.com. His work has been featured on Fox News, Forbes, TechCrunch, Mashable, VentureBeat, and in Ariana Huffington's best-selling book, Thrive. He's a father of 3 and plays 6 musical instruments, albeit mediocrely.
Welcome to Simply Walk the Talk. Our bodies and minds adapt to what we do most of the time. If you want to change your body and mind, you must change what it is you do most of the time. This podcast explores all things health, wellness, fitness, lifestyle, and biohacking. Stay tuned as we explore various thoughts, methods, and experiences from a multitude of conversations between our interesting guests and experts through many fields of work. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Simply walk the talk. Simply walk the talk.
Mr. Dmitri, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one because there's been so much that I've been excited to talk about when it comes to this thing that people see around my neck all the time. Like ever since you guys sent me this, I literally haven't taken it off except to charge it. and of course I don't wear it in the cold plunge or in the shower and things like that. But for those of you who are not familiar with what I'm holding in my hand, and for those of you that are not watching, I highly suggest you go and you watch this. But I have this beautiful pendant that is around my neck, and I have it against my skin. In fact, I did a recent Instagram reel that we've all been talking about that really shows some level of why I'm wearing this. So I wanted to bring Dmitri on to talk about all things frequency, light, sound, and ultimately helping us to thrive from the ground up. So let's go into it, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Yeah, you're in Austin right now, right?
I am. Yeah, I was just here for the last week.
Yeah, what were you doing?
I love it. So I was at a Dave Asprey's conference. It's called the Business of Biohacking. So it's not his usual big conference, but more intimate for entrepreneurs in that space. Amazing. I'm just really, really impressed.
Nice. And it's interesting because you and I were like ships passing in the night, because I just was recently in Austin for a week.
I heard.
Yeah. And then I guess you bumped into some people that saw me. And then right after that, I was in New York for a few days. I came back to New York. Then I had to go to, or I should say, I got the opportunity to go to Boulder, Colorado, to do some presentations at a symposium. This was a 3rd annual symposium for the Home Hope organization, which is health optimization, medicine, and practice. And it was amazing. However, after being in Austin for a week where it's hot and humid, and then going to New York where it was starting to get cold because of the fall transition, then going to high altitude, cold, and dry weather, my voice, bro, was just completely shot. And I know you and I were supposed to record, I think it was Monday or Tuesday. And I'm like, guys, I'm so sorry, but I don't have a voice, So yeah. And I'm sure you probably get this if you've ever had this happen before. Someone like me, where my voice is so much of a part of me and so much a part of my brand and my business, whenever I can't use my voice, it almost takes me down this rabbit hole of like, what is going on in my life that's causing me to have to slow down a little bit. So this is
Yeah.
where I'm at now. Yeah.
Yeah. That's actually a really good way to look at it. There's everything is a mirror, right?
Yeah, yeah. And so I must say I'm excited in more ways than one, but now I can use my voice to now spread some more awareness about some of the things that you're up to. So let's dive into your background. Like, where are you from? Like, what got you into ultimately doing what you're doing today?
I'm an entrepreneur and a real generalist. So I don't have a medical background, and so I was thinking about this because what really got me into this is the fact that I'm a generalist, and so the fact that this device kind of combines different modalities in one is comes from that. It's combining infrared light, sound, vibration, medicine in a wearable, right? So it's things that actually haven't been combined into one device yet. So I think it's an advantage. But I come from tech business background. So I was in investment banking after college. Then I worked in kind of big tech. Worked for a company that got acquired by Yahoo. Then started my first startup. Then a second startup. And a few years ago, I really got into wellness technology. And around the same time, I really started thinking about like where is this space going, and kind of little by little, it led to the this thing, and really my kind of the why behind it is I started seeing how we are the wellness and medicine and health is in the process of shifting, and so kind of looked at where is this going and what is the world need, and yeah, that led to creation of this little guy.
And where are you from, by the way,
I
originally?
was born and raised in Moscow, Russia. Then I moved to LA when I was 16. So I spent most of my life in the States, in Los Angeles, and went to university in San Francisco.
Most people are surprised when I say this, but Moscow is like probably when it comes to the my favorite cities around the world, because I've been to over 52 countries, and
Nice.
I've spent a lot of time traveling and being in different places, but usually Moscow is like in the top 5 of my
Really?
favorite cities in the
Wow.
world.
Dude, you know what's crazy? I've also been to 52 countries. That's pretty weird.
Ooh. Okay.
I
Well,
just counted.
I have this this goal of getting to 100 plus,
Nice.
and I I haven't explored Asia, like, mainland Asia, like, China, Korea, Vietnam, all these places, and it's on my list. And I know that once I get to mainland Asia, I'll be able to kind of tick off a lot of these little countries quite easily because it's so compact and close together. But I've been through most of South America, literally, I would say almost all of Europe, and then I've been through most of all the states in America. So,
Nice.
like, I have this mural on my wall. It's like this cool puzzle piece type thing that shows all the places that I've been. I haven't put in all the pens, of course, but it's always cool to glance up at it at times and just remind myself where I've been, how far I've come throughout life. Because like my father, before he passed away, he never traveled on an airplane, and he certainly never left the country. So obviously you have to get on an airplane and leave the country, right? Well, I guess you can drive to
Take a
Mexico,
boat.
but yeah, yeah. But he wasn't doing all that. And so it's like I appreciate being able to travel. And so anyway, that's why I wanted to know where you're from. And I think it's also interesting because I don't think you were born an entrepreneur, right? At some point you must have noticed within your environment, like people doing really cool things. And I say that because that's what happened to me. Like I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur by the age of 12. And I knew
Mm,
the reason why I say I know that then is because that's when I first went to a university camp for entrepreneurs at age 12.
mm. Whoa.
Right. So, and I know this because I got a chance to see my family do everything they could to try to keep us afloat, right? To keep us fed and keep us housed. And, one job wasn't cutting it back then, right? So I saw both my mom and my dad doing multiple jobs. So for me, it was just kind of normal. But anyway, I love that you kind of knew where you wanted to go at some point early in your life, and here you are doing it. Yeah.
You know, I guess I did, but it wasn't like a direct line, right? It was just
Such is life, right? Such is life. But as I'm sitting here talking with you and watching you, I see that you speak about it's like you almost look back on your life without saying it, but it shows on your face that you're happy with your journey. And
yeah,
I think that's what we should be thinking about, being a bit more aware of, sure, there is going to always be ups and downs, sort of like the ocean, right? Like the waves. The waves aren't always high. There's low points. There's the crashing of the waves, and there's this and that. But it's about being able to ride those waves. The journey of catching the wave and riding it is always beautiful. I mean, it should be.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was doing this exercise at this conference I just went, and they asked, "What's your favorite year?" I'm like, or what's your favorite age or year? I'm like 2025, of course. Like and I want it to always be the current year. Like that's
Well said. Well said. So, all right, let's talk about this device, the one. I first of all, I really like the branding behind it, the name, because it's like when I talk about it, I like it's like a play on words, but I'm like,
yeah,
yeah, like that one device is really dope. And they're like, which one? Well, that one. It's like obviously. Um, I absolutely love it. And I'll be completely honest with you. Before you and I connected, I don't know how long ago it was, but I saw some things on social media it looked like some of the other devices that are already out there, right? The ones that use geometrical patterns, and they claim to block EMF or make their cells more resilient based on the type of stone and the geometrical patterns and things like that. And while it's I understand it, or at least I have some understanding around how it works and why it works, there's always this little bit of notion of like, yeah, but like, how good is it actually working for me and in my environment? Because most of these studies out there are done in a vacuum, in a lab setting, and we don't live that way, right? And so I just kind of have to have blind faith in that these things work. And if it doesn't cost me an arm and leg to incorporate it into my life, then so be it. But then I started to notice this device, the one device, um, had a few things that were a little bit different. And one of the first things that caught my eye and caught my interest was the fact that you charge this device. And I go, oh, wait a minute. It's a little different than some of the other ones. Because the other ones, you kind of charge it in the sun, right? You can like
mhm,
recharge it or restructure it by putting it in the sun and things like that. Okay, we understand that. But this one, we're actually into the modern tech side of things, which is what I'm interested in, right? And it's like, well, wait a minute. So you charge it, which means it's emitting something. It's not just this stone that is this subtle frequency that stones, seem to have. And then I go, wait a minute, on the back there's a light. And like the other ones don't do that. Okay. And then I put it up to my ear and I hear this sound and I'm like, wow, this is actually a different device. So I start looking into it. Then I reach out to you guys and then the rest is history. So here we
yeah,
are. But yeah, why don't you talk about maybe the evolution of it or what got you into it? Why the one device? Why?
sure, yeah, absolutely. Um, so a few years ago, well, 6 years ago, we started working on came across another technology, which was a light therapy patch, which was basically a nanomaterial that converts your body heat into light. And then you stick it on different parts of your body where you have pain or different acupoints. And that light basically powers the device, or sorry, your body heat powers the device and generates the light for 3 years uh, without batteries. And we saw just incredible results, especially with people with MS, Parkinson's, neurological disorders, fibromyalgia, etc. Then we saw what it can do for athletes. And Novak Djokovic at French Open 2 years ago took his shirt off, and the camera caught that he's wearing our device. And then he called it the biggest secret of his career at the press conference afterwards. And so that was just incredible. And seeing what little pulses of light can do for your health, for your performance, is incredible. And then around the same time, I started developing or started thinking about what else could we do? How can we make it better? What can we remove? What can we add? And did exactly that. So basically wanted to combine, take all the best things from that light therapy device, but also add sound, add infrared light. So this has infrared LED in this as well. And we also put some crystals, which are basically activated with the vibration of the transducer that's also generating the sound, right? So it's just multimodality. It's several things working in one. But really the biggest aha moment was, we have all of the red light beds and red light panels. You can go into the vibrating chairs and get your nervous system retuned. You can go into sound healings and so on. And you do it for an hour or as long as you want, and you feel amazing afterwards. And that's, I've done that many times. But then what happens? You get up, you get back in traffic, you're surrounded by EMF, your phone, you're on top of your Tesla battery, all the distractions and stress. And so all of the benefits from those therapies very quickly go away. And what we wanted to do is make something wearable that's always on. And so with the red light therapy for an hour, it's like you're screaming at your nervous system for an hour, and then everything stops and you go back to normal. With us, it's like you're whispering at your nervous system consistently all day long. And that actually turns out to be much more effective with these subtle energies. The whisper is way better than the scream. So it kind of works in resonance with your field.
Very cool. Yeah. So for those of you that are watching, you may have noticed that I pulled up the website, which is the1device.com. And there's different, obviously there's a lot of scientific papers and a lot of science in there, but also it breaks down what Dmitri was just talking about, which is what's inside of it. And then you can go into a deep dive if you want, and I'm sure they'd be happy to have you reach out and talk about it. And at the end of the show, we'll talk about discount codes and how you guys can become a part of the one tribe, if you will. But I also, like, I'm sure at some point in this conversation, we'll talk about the different devices and the best ways to get the use out of it. But let's talk about the fact that, so when you said that Djokovic took off his shirt and he had your device on, at that time, were you only doing a light device, or was that a different patch?
It was a different device, and it was basically, it's a patch that you have to apply with tape. And
was that your device or someone else's?
So it was our device that I didn't invent, but we were essentially with the exclusive distributor around the world.
I got it.
Yeah.
Perfect. It's really good to know, because I was thinking like, oh, so you started with the one at a certain level and then you built on it. But no, it sounds like when you had the idea to kind of put several modalities into one, that became the one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
And so the first version of this, I wish I had it here with me. It was like like this big and this thick,
Almost twice the size and twice the thickness. Yeah.
It was crazy. And the journey to create this, and by the way, so my background is in software, and so I'm like with software, especially software as a service, if you mess up, you just you change a few lines of code, you push the button, it goes out to all your customers, and you send an apology letter and everything's fine. With this, it's crazy how different hardware is. And everyone I talk to who in hardware, it's insane. It's a completely different level of problems, and you have to, your cycle is so much longer. So yeah, it's a very different beast.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple things that come to mind that I want to dive into, because one, I noticed that the battery life on this is quite long. So that's cool. And I'll mention a couple of things and then you can touch on each of those if you don't mind. But so I like the fact that it has a long battery life, which reminds me of what you mentioned about the patch, is that it's using your body's energy to create an energy within I guess to power the patch, so it could be used for up to 3 years. I think is impressive, obviously, right?
Hmm.
And at least with what I could see online at the one device, this you can use this device, I guess, continuously for up to 72 hours, which is pretty cool. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then there's the other thing about I know there was a study done a while ago about sleep, and even if you had like a pen size amount of light, how that can throw off your sleep. And so when I first heard about the light therapy in this, I think the average person would think, I kind of put myself in the shoes of the person, the skeptic out there. They would probably say, but yeah, this light, this small dot of light is not going to do anything for the body. But that's not true, because there's research to show that it can disrupt your sleep. So if you do it in the right way and in the right frequency, the right settings, then possibly it could help to benefit your health, right? So I thought that
Absolutely.
was cool. But then there's also the sound piece. And it's like, okay, well, is it so disruptive that, you can't be in a quiet environment and have it throw people off, or no? Again, I noticed that I have to put it up to my ear. It's a very subtle sound, but if you put it close enough to your ear, you can really hear it, which is pretty interesting and cool. Um, yeah. And so were all these things conscious, or like, or did you just get lucky and fall into this? Like, how did these things work?
Bro, no, it took about 4 years of just continuous iteration testing. The volume, it's funny you bring this up. You have no idea how much kind of like testing went into just the volume piece, to make sure it's like loud enough to have the effects we want to have, but also not too loud where it's annoying for your ear. Um, and same with the light brightness, same, just, yeah, there's been a lot more iteration than you can think of. Battery life, whew, that was that was a long journey as well.
I'm
Um,
sure.
so yeah, it's I want to say it was, well, it's two things. It wasn't accidental, but I also, how they say it was channeled, right? I can't say that, like, I can't really take the credit, because it came from somewhere else, and I'm just grateful that it chose us to be the conduits for this to come into the world.
That's pretty powerful, and I can imagine, like, I can resonate with what you're saying, because I think if you're someone who happens to be successful in any domain, you understand that a lot of times we're channeled to do certain things. We're called to do certain things, especially if we're open and aware, then we can receive that and use it as such. And it becomes a responsibility, because of the power is so great. It becomes a responsibility. And so I get you. I get you for sure. Um,
Well, and sorry, one thing.
Please.
So, and the really interesting, just to give an example of that. So by default, what this does is just it rotates through all of the frequencies, right? And so I was thinking about this. Well, okay, so it kind of needs an off button, right? Because if it's just on all the time and you lay it down, it's going to waste the battery. Like, how do I add a button? Because this thing is made of copper, and it's plated with different metals. And so the one I'm wearing is platinum. We have rose gold. We have, yeah, the Ferrari of one devices, uh, black, and gold. And so I'm like, okay, so how do we add a button to a metal thing without like just making it complex? And then, I'm sitting there, and this thought pops into my mind. Oh, you can put a sensor into it, an accelerometer, which understands how it's oriented in space. I'm like, okay, then we can put it horizontally, and it knows to turn off. Then I'm like, okay, so then how do we how do we switch the frequencies? Because it rotates through all of them, but you can also, well, somehow you would need to like switch it. I'm like, another thought pops into my mind. So you know what I mean? Like, it just comes to, so I can't take the credit for it, because it just like arrives. Right. And so what we came up with is you just tap it, and it rotates between the different colors and frequencies as well.
I think it's brilliant. I think it's super brilliant because, again, for the people who are watching, you notice that he held it in a certain way to tap it to get that to work. So you have to hold it flat and then tap it. And then what I noticed is that as soon as you tap it and you get to the color that you want, you have to then hold it upright or drop it because otherwise it thinks it's going into turn off mode.
Yeah, if you hold it for 4 seconds horizontally, it turns off.
Yeah. But again, like that is cool. Is something that became kind of intuitive. And I think it's intuitive enough. And then obviously if people see the Instagram reel that I posted or they watch this podcast and they listen to it, they're gonna get it really, really quick because they hear us talking about it. But it's also easy enough and intuitive enough for the person who's not seeing any of this to be able to understand it because you get the pamphlet, you get the QR code. It's very well done. Now, there's since we're on this piece about the functionality with the sensor and the different positions, one of the things I noticed, and you may have already heard this, maybe you haven't, but I'm curious on your thoughts on this because I like I said to you, and this is totally honest, I wear this thing every day, all day. I even wear it to sleep. However, when we're sleeping, we know that hopefully we're laying flat, right? And so if this is on our chest, that means this is flat, therefore it's in the off position. But we don't always stay in one position. So when we move, then I feel like, okay, because of the accelerometer and also the positioning, and then we'll go into rotation mode in which maybe I don't want some of those frequencies while I'm sleeping. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, so all the frequencies are fine, but about the sleep specifically. So this is a really funny story. So because we design it so it turns off in the horizontal position to not waste the battery, somebody started hanging it by the bed, just like by the nightstand, and started sleeping infinitely better. So one of the girls who works with us, so her boyfriend couldn't sleep. They just had a really hard time falling asleep and staying asleep. So they started hanging it by the bed, and now he can't wake up. Like he keeps missing his alarm clock and like missing work. So they had to stop hanging it just because it messes up his life. Yeah, it's really interesting.
And did they hang it with the light facing him?
Away. No, facing away. Yeah.
Okay, so that's interesting because that was another piece I wanted to talk about is like right now you and I both have this on the outside of our shirts, mostly so we can see it, right? Obviously. And but is it better to have it directly on your skin because of the light? Or are you still getting, because the reason why I asked this is because that's one piece I wanted to talk about. Like, does it need to be on your skin? Is that where you get the best results? Probably. But if hanging it on beside the bed means that it's probably still getting some level of frequency tuning from the subtle sound, the subtle vibration, maybe not as much on the light, but at least the other frequencies are being captured. Is that kind of the point?
Yes, that's the short answer. The slightly longer answer is a little strange. So as you said before, we're bridging the gap between like just very hardcore science, right? So we have a ton of studies that behind what we do, but there's also this kind of unexplained piece, and a lot of it we just science hasn't fully caught up, and we frankly didn't expect, and so. One of those, for example, is women have drastically better PMS symptoms or no PMS symptoms at all when they wear it. The sleep thing was unexpected when you're not wearing it. And just this overall, I mean, the other thing is what I noticed, synchronicities start to increase in your life, like when you put it on. Just really bizarre. And so by the way, yeah, it is a little bit better if you wear it against your skin, but it actually doesn't really matter. And so one of the things that we did recently, so I met a person who is just really intuitive and really just can sense energy. And so she noticed that even when the device is off, it still is like she can still feel energy coming from it. And the reason for that, we think, is because we have two crystals inside the device, a clear quartz and shungite. And shungite has been shown to reduce, to neutralize the effects of EMF, like 5G and just EMF radiation. And the clear quartz is a whole other beast that's not really like properly studied. But so when the transducer, the speaker inside the device is basically like shaking the crystals, it's also creating a field around them. And so even when you just lay it flat, it's not as strong as we've been able to see. And again, this is like one person's intuitive feeling of it, but it's we tested a few different things with her, and it really works. And so yeah, and by the way, so we are also doing studies as we speak on HRV, and so far we're seeing an improvement in heart rate variability. We are seeing theta waves go up, which is also, theta waves are the kind of the meditative state, which is really interesting. Yeah, so it's a few things kind of working at the same time.
So when it comes to the sleep part of it, and I know you very quickly mentioned that it's not so big of a deal for it to go into rotation mode, which goes through all the cycles while you're sleeping. But that was one of the things that I wanted to. So whenever I did my Instagram reel, I did that in a way to allow people to understand, because unless you have the device or you scour through the website, it's hard to know what color represents what, right? So I did that just to show a few of those colors when I was,
Nice.
tapping through the cycles.
That's awesome.
Because and it was helpful for me too, right?
Mm-hmm.
But some of those colors, I think, would maybe represent like a boost in energy,
Mm-hmm.
more so than the relaxation piece. So that's the only reason why I asked that. But do you know if the girl you mentioned with her boyfriend with the sleep issues, did they put it into sleep mode and then hang it?
I have to ask.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay. All right. Because well, I guess let me ask you this, because I for sure the sleep mode is my favorite one, and that's what I call purple, but it's actually violet, right? So on the chart, you see, like, I already know once it gets to blue, the next one is violet. So all I do is just tap, tap, tap. Say I see blue, I know the next one is violet or purple. So that's the one I use for sleep, and I tend to do that about 30 minutes to an hour before I go to bed.
Nice.
And then I'm like, okay, whatever happens when I lie down, if it goes into cycle mode or turns off, it is what it is, right? That's how I do it. However, you did mention before I got mine, I think you did mention hanging it, or I saw some correspondence where if you hang it by the bed, it could also work. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll do that. I haven't done that yet, but I am going to try that. I think I'm going to put it on, because I have what do you call the thing behind the bed? I was about to call it a headstone, and that's dark.
Headrest? No.
Yeah.
No.
Headboard. Headboard. Yeah. So I want to find like a little, put a thumbtack or something like that on the headboard, so it's kind of in the middle of the bed, and see what happens.
Nice.
I'll report back to you and let you know.
Please.
But believe it or not, I get lots of people asking me, like, from my health coaching side of things, a big concern for a lot of people is sleep. So if I can help people with the sleep, I think, and this device can help with that, this is going to be huge. But back to some of the other functionalities. So where are you guys at with like, are you happy with where the sound is and the light and the frequency settings, or are you guys already looking into other additions or attachments or devices?
Oof, yeah, no, we're always up to something. So we just launched a kind of a feature called biotuning. And so one of our advisors and a friend, his name is Dr. Jeffrey Thompson, and he's been in the sound vibroacoustic space since the 80s for a really long time. And so he has developed this technology which basically finds your own personal resonant frequency using HRV biofeedback. And so it's done, but you have to go into a center where they hook up electrodes to your wrists, and you sit in a chair for 20 minutes. But unfortunately for now, the only centers we can do this are in New York and like LA and San Diego, and actually UK as well.
And my apartment.
That's true. Exactly.
Seriously, because I have tools to find it. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
there
anyway,
you go.
yeah, go.
Well, and then we program that frequency into one device. And so the one I'm wearing is actually personally tuned to me, to my frequency. And so it's, even without this, it's the effects you see. And by the way, all the feedback you see on our site, all the reviews are all actually just requested reviews from our customers. So you can see what it's doing, and yourself as well. But with this, it's actually even stronger. And like we've been able to, we haven't, it's only been out for about a month. So we haven't been able to measure enough data to talk about this conclusively. But before, the results of listening and being exposed to your personal frequency are just insane. Things like, I don't want to say things to trigger any kind of any censorship from from anyone, but like really serious diseases just going away. It's insane. So that's one.
So let me ask you this then real quick, because I did notice, because whenever I'm trying to find out if something is going to work for me so that I can then promote it to my audience and my community, I definitely do a deep dive. And so I did notice in there the biotuning piece. So correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like that's an upgrade with the same device, but it's an upgrade of the software. With that, do you have to send the device back in, or how does it work? How do you get that part?
For now, yes. And so when you order it, so if you are interested, I mean, if you are living in New York or Southern California or planning to visit, it's better to do before you order it. If you do want to, if you already have one, you absolutely can send it back. We can program it. We are working on having you be able to do this very, very soon. Say beginning of the year, beginning of 2026. I'm like so torn because I want to talk about it, but I also don't want to like reveal too much. But it's going to be really, really, really cool.
Okay. No, it's really good to know. And maybe like after we finish the call or at some point in the near future, maybe you can connect me with the folks that are doing it here in New York, so that we can maybe have it as another piece to show people what it might look like. Because I've had, just by virtue of wearing this and having a very quick, like, wellness made wearable elevator pitch, so many people have asked me about it, which is why I wanted to get that post up and make it successful. And then I think as I talk about this more, we get this podcast out and I start doing more content around it. I want to be able to show people that this is quite easy to go and get something that looks good, because based on what we've said so far, you don't have to wear it as a necklace, right? Like you could, I imagine you could also get benefit of putting it in your pocket if you wanted to, right? I imagine you could get some benefit of, like you said, putting it by the bed or just having it in your environment that you're closest to. So this is what is cool about where we are in modern technology. And I think this is why I want to put it out there, because like I like it. I've got magnetic bracelets on, or necklaces on. I've got the Chi Blanco on. I've got the Wave watch on. But obviously there's the Chi Blanco is one of the ones where if I'm being honest, it's harder to explain to people, because you just have to expect that it works and you have to trust their science. And it is what it is. I've been using it for years. Love it. But notice I now have this at the back of me because I want to have this right here in the middle of my solar plexus, because I feel like this is the best opportunity to get the most out of this, right? And then the Wave watch is cool, but like, who wants to walk around with two watches, right? The Wave watch definitely utilizes sound frequency and a little bit of light frequency, and has a bunch of cool things you can program, and it's cool, but not everybody wants to walk around with a watch, or certainly two watches. So what I'm trying to help put out there is that there are lots of options in this world of light, sound, vibration. And at the end of the day, we are frequency beings, right? There's a book that I keep right beside me here called Healing is Voltage, right? And this is a really good book that talks about all the things that we're talking about now. But when they wrote this book, they didn't have the one device, right? They didn't have a tool like that. In fact, whenever I wrote my book 3 years ago, I didn't know about the one device. I knew about some of the other ones like Pulsetto or not. Pulsetto wasn't even out then, but there was a few out there that I was using and I thought was really, really cool. But now I have this and it looks good. It's fantastic. And it opens up conversations. When I'm wearing it, people are like, what is that? And I go, good.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what's crazy? And I don't know why. It's because I actually don't know why it attracts so much attention, because the light actually is shining towards you. Like, it doesn't even shine out. And so that's something we thought about, like, should we make it a little bit more visible? But it still is quite catchy. And actually, that's one of the other things. You know how I mentioned in the beginning that I'm a generalist, and like I know a little bit about everything, or a lot of things at least. Like, play 6 musical instruments poorly. You know, so we want to make something that's fashionable, that looks good, right? And so most wearables today, they, you know, it's not necessarily something you want to wear. And so we wanted to make something that actually looks cool, looks like jewelry, appeals to both men and women. And yeah, there's a lot more coming on that front. And then one other thing, you've touched on this, but really important to mention. I think we are the only wearable that does not emit EMF.
That's very important. I'm glad you brought that up.
Very
Please
important.
continue.
Yeah, this was a big priority for us. And like, we had to make some difficult decisions to stick by that, because I personally, and all of us believe, and figure our customers don't want AMF. So we don't have Bluetooth. The whole thing is made of copper, which is a Faraday cage. So whatever electronics are inside, nothing reaches your body. And we measure this, like, there's absolutely no magnetic nothing coming out of it, or EMF coming out of it. And so the thing that's coming in the beginning of the year is, the question is, so if we want to make an app and communicate with it somehow, how would we do it without Bluetooth, without wires? And yeah, I'm just really excited to share it. So,
ooh, that's important. First of all, thank you. I'm glad that we didn't forget that, because that's an important piece, because I do remember seeing that. And then I questioned myself. I'm like, wait, how does it not do that? And then I thought to myself, man, I wish they had an app so I could toggle through the different settings. And I'm like, that's probably why, because there's no Bluetooth, right? And here's what's cool. 1 second. You can't hear it, right? And like, to kind of prove the point a little bit, right? This is very anecdotal, but most of my other devices that I have create static, so I can't use them while I'm doing a podcast. This one didn't do that. Like, normally you would hear like normally you would hear some level of like, but no, you don't feel that with this. So that's cool. And then let's see, I had another question. So you have figured out a way to do an app, I guess?
Yeah,
because good. I was hoping that, and again, I'm just, this is outside looking in, and I feel like I'm part of the team, and we can talk about this on the air. But I thought it would be cool if there was a way to adjust the light, adjust the sound, and adjust the vibration, because of all the things, the light, sound, and vibration, I don't feel the vibration, but I know it, but it has to be there, right?
It's very, very subtle. It's like very micro. So most of it comes through sound.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But to me, that makes sense. I get that. But for the average person who maybe doesn't understand that, maybe they're wanting to have a little bit more of the vibratory aspect, because that's what some of these other tools are promoting. like I forget the one that looks like a pebble that hangs here.
Sensate.
Sensate, yeah.
Yep.
So I was a part of the Sensate group like when it first started, and I promoted them, had them on the podcast years ago, back in 2020, and
Nice.
that's their main thing is the vibration, and you have different levels of vibration, and it can go from like very subtle to like super intense, where I think is like bouncing off of you. But I don't think this needs that. However, it'd be cool to kind of titrate for those of us who are really into it. Yeah.
Yeah, Anna is a good friend, so we're huge fans of Sensate. Apollo is another one.
That's the other one I was
right.
trying to think of, Apollo, right?
Yeah, and so honestly, what we wanted to do, and both Apollo and Sensate are huge inspirations and friends. But what we wanted to really focus on the light and the sound, the more subtle things. Yes, and so we are launching a way for you to adjust the frequencies. I'm just going to say something else just to throw a little hint. Your voice is going to play a key role as well into
Whoa.
Yeah.
And still no EMF.
Still no.
Yeah. Okay. Now you got me intrigued. And if those of you that are listening and watching, if you're not intrigued yet, then I don't know what else to say to get you to go there. But I do think it's important to. I'm gonna bring up the website again, because I do think it's important for people to see the different options of what you can get. And so maybe as I have this on the screen, you can help walk me through some of this. So here's obviously the home. I showed this before, and some of the taglines here: sleep, focus, calm, recovery, HRV, healing technology as jewelry. I think this one here, the one in black nickel, looks amazing. And Dmitri has already talked about this, but this is a copper device plated with either black nickel, rose gold, or platinum, right? Those are the options you have now.
Yes, and believe it or not, that was like the hardest thing about this, to do this. So we got the electronics down, we got like the design and everything. Plating is surprisingly difficult to do at scale. So we've gone through a lot of different options of doing it.
Yeah, this is I love this little image that I have up right now, which is what it does. And I think this is what most people just like want to. There's this expression I used to hear from a guy I used to work with back in Oklahoma before I moved to New York. And he would always say, "Hey, Josh, why don't you save me the labor pains and just give me the baby?" Which basically means like, just tell me, just get to the point. Well, that's what this is here, what it does. Calm the mind on demand. Feel racing thoughts slow down the moment you put it on. Quiet digital chaos. Block EMF fatigue in coffee shops, airplanes, or on open plan offices. Stay centered under pressure. Make decisions with confidence even when everything's moving fast. Boost emotional resilience. Bounce back from stressful meetings, social media storms, or family drama. We all have that. And then magnify your presence. Walk into any room and own your space. Distractions melt away. And you see this image here. It's cool because you kind of see everything in one, right? You see the light, you see the vibration, hopefully you can kind of see the sound of it, if that makes sense. But that's ultimately the one.
Well, yeah, thank you. And this is really interesting. So a lot of what you just read, it's kind of hard to understand how this would work, like why you would feel more centered, right? And this is something that now I'm going to get a little bit more, I guess, spiritual, right? So we talked about the science, and really there are 13,000 studies on light, sound, vibration, electromagnetic frequencies, and what they can do on your body. The PubMed studies, like peer-reviewed, many of them placebo-controlled. And so the science is there. Like this hasn't reached the mainstream quite yet. Like the red light is now finally mainstream, but we don't really fully grasp what it's doing. But everything has a vibration. And in fact, we know from quantum physics that everything is vibration, like everything is a wave before it's a particle, really, right? And so we have our own vibration. When we are at peace, when we are in the rest and digest state, where we feel great, we feel centered, we feel present, grounded. But the nature of waves and vibration is that everything resonates with everything else around, right? This is why we are the byproduct of 5 people we hang out with. Right? We resonate with them. This is why our circadian rhythms are tied with the rotation of the Earth, or I guess the sun coming up and down. Why women's cycles are synced with the moon and with each other. Right? Everything resonates with everything. And so this is why living in the world we live in, especially in cities, feels a little bit chaotic. There's so much going on, and our core frequency begins to dissonate with itself and resonate with everything else. And so the reason we do, like, the real why behind this is the one device gives you something to resonate with. It gives you this kind of like a tuning fork for your energy system, for your body, for your emotional, your mental state. And it brings you back into resonance with yourself. And that's why all those things you read, why you feel calmer, you recover faster, you feel more centered, more grounded, more present. This is why, because you now begin to resonate as yourself again. It's really that simple. And the other why behind why we did this is our medicine, our health, wellness, longevity is based in molecular physics. We see our body as a mechanical 3D machine, right? Like, this is just how I grew up, how we're treated. We take supplements because they're molecules. We know they work, and they do work. If you have a problem with somewhere, you would cut yourself with a scalpel and like fix something. Again, like a broken car. But we've known for 100 years that physics is actually not molecular, it's quantum. We've known for 100 years that everything vibrates, that everything resonates. But somehow, and like, this is so mainstream that we built like all the electronic devices are relying on quantum physics. But somehow, when it comes to biology, that hasn't entered the mainstream biology, health, medicine. And so the light, sound, vibration, and frequencies is the next level. It's really, like, I call it biohacking 2.0. It's the future, and this is why I'm so passionate about this, because this is where it's going, and I'm just so excited to be in at the beginning, in the center of this revolution, because this is so common sense when you think about it. And by the time a disease has materialized in your body, it already has gone through that higher plane vibrational disharmony, right? That it starts as this dissonance, then it materializes slowly into 3D problems, right? Into like real health issues. And so what we're doing, and again, why you recover faster, it brings you back into your center where you are overall feeling better. And it starts with that centeredness, it starts with that groundedness, and then little by little problems begin to go away. Like, the physical issues begin to go away. Why, again, women have much better PMS symptoms pretty immediately. And different levels of problems take longer or shorter or longer to go away, because a lot of the problems you've taken your entire life to develop, right? And so, like, some of them you won't be able to heal immediately, but we've had cases where somebody has had, especially with like neurological or nervous issues, the healing can happen so fast because it's like sometimes minutes.
So let me ask you this, because clearly you guys are doing really awesome stuff. I mean, I applaud you on the hardware of this product, the way it looks, the way it operates, the way it works, and you're bouncing around, all over the place. And I see that you guys have so many things on the horizon, which is great. What is your biggest market right now? What are you guys who are you going after, and what have you seen to have the most impact with like sales and people that resonate with what you're doing?
I'd say the people who it resonates with most are those, like, we don't need to educate. They already understand that everything is vibrating, and so they've done the red light therapy. They've sat on the vibrating chairs and have felt what that can do. And so it's just so logical, and they right away get how this works and why doing this all the time just has to help, right? It has to just, there's no way it wouldn't. Um, and so I would say that's kind of our early adopters is folks like yourself who are who get this, so we don't have to educate them. And then the next big opportunity is folks who are just kind of, it's in their awareness, but they're not fully behind it yet. Like they might even meditate, they might do yoga, but they're starting to get how frequency works and what it can do.
So are you guys after, like, do you get most of your community from the US? Is it more Europe? Is it a little bit of both? Like what's that look like?
I would say it's 80% US, and
That's
like
big.
10% Europe, and the rest around the world. So we haven't, to be honest, we haven't focused really anywhere else. Like US has been our primary focus.
That makes sense.
Yeah, this
And
part.
who is this not for, right? Like, because let's be honest, obviously we both love the product. I mean, I know you love the product because this is your baby. I love it clearly because I'm wearing it every day. I did some posts and I got you on the podcast, and I plan on doing a lot more with you all. But like, who is this not for? Like the person that is out there that's just like, you know what? We just would rather not even have you use it because this is not for you. Or are there any contraindications?
Great question. There's no counterindications. I mean, all it is just very quiet sound and light. So even if you have a pacemaker, it wouldn't interact with it in any way. Um, I would say, so looking at, yeah, kind of important. So we have a 90-day money back guarantee. If you don't like it for any reason, just send us an email, send it back. We'll happily refund you. And with that, we have a 2.7% return rate. So
Wow.
97.3% are very happy. What I want to say is, so the people that have returned it, that have not been happy, have been people who are just like generally, I don't want to say skeptical, because we've had a lot of skeptics who are just, just maybe they got it as a present and they didn't really expect anything. And they're like, oh my God, it actually works. But there have been some skeptics who are just like super negative. And if you're like, oh, you know what, this is really just BS, and I'm not gonna, because there's such a thing as a placebo effect, but there's also nocebo effect. So if you really believe something is not gonna work for you, it's definitely not gonna work for you.
Absolutely.
Or not definitely, but like there's significant. So and then those people also like just email us all the time, so it's just like a huge burden on our customer care team. So if you really think this is BS and you don't want to do it, please don't bother.
Well said. Well said. I'm sure you know that I do a lot of work with Vivo Barefoot,
Mhm.
and it's a very similar thing.
Yeah.
There's people that I don't have to educate that just get it, and usually that's the easiest path. The early adopters, the pioneers, the people who just totally understand it, and really communicating with them is easy. And it's just mostly about the different styles and different best use cases of the different styles. But then there's those who just don't know and are educated, and it seems to make sense, and they become adopters, and that's always kind of fun. And then there's those that just, no matter what you say, what you do, they're just always looking to counteract or to try to, get into a debate. And I like to just say, like, look, maybe it's not for you, and that's totally fine too. Like, I'm not here to sell anything other than to share my experiences, share a little bit of my knowledge. And I like to listen to different people talk about their problems with whether it be barefoot shoes or different energy devices or whatever, right? Because, like, I don't expect to talk into an echo chamber. When we do that, we don't learn as much, right? So I happen to go to all these different seminars, and I do these speaking engagements and workshops, and every single time I do one, someone comes up to me to say, look, everything you said is spot on. However, my situation is a little bit different, right? Like I talked to a guy at this most recent set of workshops or presentations I did in Boulder, and he came up to me and he was like, "Hey, look, I love your energy. I love everything you were talking about. It all makes sense. However, um, I had polio, and my case is a lot different than the average person." And I go, "Absolutely. Let's go over here. Let's have a sit down and let's talk." And this was one of the main guys that ended up doing the hike with us that following morning, and and he happened to be a similar size to me in shoe size, and so I let him try on my shoes, and he tried it, and he now has purchased a pair of shoes, and I didn't mention anything about buying shoes, right? But because I was open enough to like hear him out, I think a lot of people just want to be heard, right? But then offer something that he can do. He now decided to take it upon himself to then learn a little bit more. And I hope, I mean, I don't know, it's too early to know, but I hope that he has a pleasant experience, at least trying to improve himself rather than relying on everything else that's out there. And I try to give people back their autonomy. And so the same applies with this. I don't care if you buy one of these or not. Now, you might not be able to say that because you have a business to run, right? But I am happy if someone hears this or sees some content, they decide to buy it, and they get some level of benefit out of it. Then I think we've all done our job. Well done, us, right?
Yeah.
But I would much rather not have to deal with the people that are like, "Oh, this is BS," because there's so many trolls out there and people just want to be heard. And that can be from the positive sense or the negative sense. And I think a lot of times social media is promoting the negative sense of that. Done.
Totally.
Rant over.
No, thank you for bringing it up. Well, and to be honest, I also don't. Yes, I have a business to run, but I first and foremost, I want you to be happy. If you're not happy for any reason, please return it. We're so happy to send your money back. And again, I'm lucky to have been able to turn around a lot of skeptics. And a lot of times those skeptics, what we've seen is like they've like, for example, people have pain, they put our device on, and then like half an hour later they're just like, and I asked them how's the pain. It's like, oh, I forgot about that. So it's meaning it went away. But there's also people who are so skeptical, but they're also so close-minded, and this close-mindedness comes from I found that the people who are that level of skeptics, they are not they're closed-minded as far as science is concerned. So they have a certain level of science they learned in school, which is basically Newtonian, and they trust what they see with their eyes, and so like they know this is a 3D table, right? Or like I'm solid. I can't. There's no way I'm vibrating because I don't feel myself vibrating, right? And even the science that's 100 years old that's shown them that everything has a frequency and you can resonate or dissonate with it. Even that is not enough for them. And so with those folks, I just urge you to please educate yourself. And we have the link to PubMed studies that are showing, again, over 13,000 peer-reviewed studies showing what light and sound and vibration and PEMF can do to your body. It's crazy. Like, and it's gonna be mainstream. And so I am 2,000% certain that in 10 years, even in 5 years, the primary form of medicine will be vibrational. It's going to happen with or without us, without what we're doing. I'm really happy to accelerate that by by a couple of years and make sure that everybody's treating their body with these non-invasive methods first, because this is, again, by the time it's materialized in 3D level, it's too late. Like, it's much better to address it earlier. And I'm not saying that our kind of mainstream 3D scalpel and molecular medicine, I'm not saying it's bad. It's really helpful. I'm super grateful for our Western medicine, especially when it comes to emergencies, when something has materialized, or if you broke your bone. But there's many disorders and diseases which can be addressed much less invasively without side effects through frequencies.
Yeah, and just to put a pin in that, basically, it sounds like what you're saying, and I wholeheartedly believe this. No matter because we obviously can't say that this is going to heal anything, right? Let's just put that out there. Disclaimer: this is
Yeah.
not a healing device. This is, well, you know what I'm saying,
No,
right?
not heal. We don't heal anything.
But when you can get the body to a harmonious level, when you can get the body at its optimized baseline, then it's this canvas in which you can build beautiful art that is our being, right? And so basically getting your body in balance, getting your body in an optimized circadian rhythm, doing all the things that include all the modalities that we know that have helped our lineage get to where we are today, right? Like, these are the things that you can implore, you can do. You don't have to have the fancy, expensive devices. You don't have to do all the things. We know that we can go out in nature and get most of what we need, but do we do it? No. So we have to be honest with ourselves. That's where this blend of ancestral wisdom and modern technology, where they can kind of come together to help us get to a harmonious level within our bodies, within our minds, within our life, so that we can then build upon that. So we're strengthening our
Yes.
foundation by leveraging the tools that we have that we know work.
Dude, I'm so glad you said this. You hit the nail on the head. Like it's so much of what we're doing with all these biohacking tools is simply bringing us back to baseline, like where we were like hundreds of, thousands of years ago. Like this is just the norm. If we lived in this in the woods, we wouldn't need any of this. Like we would already be in the perfect state. But the reality is, like most of us are living in cities, and it's not going to get easier. Like it's not going to get simpler. At least I don't see it. Like in fact, things are speeding up and getting more complicated. And so we kind of need to fight fire with fire, right? We need to fight this technology overload with other technology that balances us out.
Yeah, well said. Okay, a couple more things before we start to close. This has been fascinating, and I could easily talk to you for a while. So
Me too, man. So
I have
fun.
no doubt that we will probably have you back and do a lot more. So one, I just want to make sure, like, best practices, because let's face it, not everybody reads the directions, but this is not waterproof, right?
It's not. So we've had people forget to take them off and go swimming in the ocean, and certainly in the shower, and it's completely fine. I recommend taking them off just because there's no need. It's very water resistant, but if you can take it off, it's better to take it off. But it's fine.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. I would assume that it's you probably shouldn't expose it to, just like any frequency device. You don't want to expose it to high temperatures, like boiling water and things like that. Like, I would probably say don't get into the sauna with it. Again, this is just
Try that.
right, like, because well, if nothing else, you don't want this to burn your skin, right?
Sure.
So
Yeah.
so that's one. Also, I would, one of the things I noticed, because keep in mind, I travel a lot. I wear this every day. I do have to take it off when I go through the scanner.
Really?
Yeah.
I never do it. Wait,
It
wait. It triggers?
Mm-hmm.
Whoa. That's so funny. I've never taken it off. It's never had any issues.
Really?
Whoa. That's so weird.
Yeah, I don't know
Which
why.
scanner? The one where you have to stand like this, or
No,
when you go?
the upright one that's detecting metal.
Whoa, that's cool. Wow, that's the first
Yeah.
time.
And I also, now keep in mind, it might be only because of the wave watch, but I take them off both right at the same time. But I seem to remember it. I could be wrong. I'll test it again, because I'm going to be flying again at some point. I'll test it again and see, right, and see if that truly is the case, independent of each other. But anyway, just, it does fly well. So let's put it that way, right?
Yeah,
So
honestly, I fly all the time. I've not taken it off once, and it's never triggered anything. So
okay,
I
so
think it's probably them.
maybe I misremembered that. I'm happy to be proven wrong. Okay. Well, one thing I would love to discuss, and this is just how I am, and when I feel compelled to bring something up, I feel like I may as well say it. Um, are you guys looking into doing any? Have you thought about doing, like, retreats? Because I can just imagine a group of people sitting around a campfire discussing their stories about, maybe their experiences with this and with that, and or maybe it's an opportunity for a group of high level people to come together. They get this as a part of one of their one of their swag bag gifts, but we utilize it and we talk about the different frequencies, because I feel like, similar to what I have to go through with Vivo Barefoot, it's much better when I can be in person with someone and let them feel the shoe, see the shoe, let them try it out before they are sold and before they fully want to invest into the process of maybe getting rid of their shoes, or upgrading their shoes in the future. And I kind of feel like it would be the same with this, but have you put any thought into that?
Very little. You want to do one together?
10%. That's why I brought it
All
up.
right.
That's why I
Let's
brought it
do
up.
it. I love it.
Because first of all, part of my role with Vivo Barefoot is I'm the lead of coaching and education here in the U.S. And we have 3 key cities we focus on. You're in one of them, which is Austin. And well, you're there now. You don't live there, but you're there in Austin now. Our other 2 key cities is L.A. and New York. I live in New York. I travel a lot to Austin, and I'll be doing some trips to L.A. as well. However, one of the cool things that I've seen is that the more pop-ups we do, the more community we build. And chances are there's people who see something on social media, because like we didn't do it if it's not on social media, right? But they see these cool photos and videos being produced, and people, again, they mostly want to be heard and they want to be seen. And so if we did an event where we maybe partnered with Vivo, or or we bring some of our ambassadors together for people to be able to experience this in real time, then I think they'll have a better authentic experience to be able to then share from a place of authenticity. So if we can make that happen, you heard it here, folks. Like, if we do that, be on the lookout, because I think that would be amazing to have, some of my favorite nutrition companies and beverage companies, and maybe a little bit of plant medicine, for those of you that like that and can do that. But imagine doing some sort of meditation breathwork experience using the one device, having the cool people around, and doing it in a place that is the right set and setting so that we can really feel this,
Everything you're saying, just music to my ears. Let's do it.
Done. You heard it, guys. That is a virtual sign off. So we're gonna do something at some point, and I really do hope people come to me and ask me. They already have been, but I want people to feel that it's okay, because I will respond. Right? You may not get the response you want, but it's like, if you have questions, ask me. And I feel like this is a really good opportunity for you to mention how you guys best want people to reach out and stay in touch with you.
Sure. Yeah, just our website, theonedevice.com. We have at the bottom, we have a link to our email, our Instagram, our Facebook. Yeah, just get in touch with us any way you want. We usually get back to you within the same day. Sometimes on the weekends it can take longer. Yeah, any questions, just reach out. We're always happy to talk.
Yeah, and I have to attest to the fact that the team, at least on social media, are very responsive. So, and I know sometimes you hop in there because you'll text me and say, it's me now, but I love that because you're very close to it. You're very hands-on.
No, I can't say enough things about our customer care team. Like, we're really, really, really lucky and grateful for everyone we work with.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else that you would like to touch on or mention before we wrap up?
2 things. Number
Please.
1, so again, we just try it. We have a money back guarantee. There's no reason not to, unless you're like a super skeptic and you really, really don't believe it will work, because then you will create that. That's 1. And 2, so I recently did a TED talk kind of on this topic of what's the future of health and wellness looking like, and why I think it's tied to frequencies and resonance more specifically. So it's time that we stop thinking of our body as a broken car or a broken 3D machine where you have to fix one part, like replace a part, and then everything's fine. It's more, and I love what you do with the barefoot kind of, because it's so important, because it leads to overall balance, right? Like, everything's connected to everything else. And if you go to a holistic healer, or holistic medicine, like Chinese medicine, for example, they ask you if you have a problem with your hand, they'll ask you 100 questions about your like childhood, your mental, your physical, because everything is one organism is working together. And I want to even go a step further. I want to say it's not just that's one thing; it's more like a symphony. Your body, your mental, your emotional state, it's one symphony, and it can be tuned. Every cell and every organ is an instrument, and you can and every frankly thought, right, every feeling you feel is all part of the symphony, and you can tune them with resonance. And then this is why again, women's cycles align with the moon and with each other. Everything is playing together, and it's time we start thinking about that. And when you see it through that lens, it makes perfect sense why a little thing that's emitting infrared light, sound, and vibration into your body can have such a profound effect, especially if you wear it over time.
I love that you brought that up, because one of the posts I'm going to do here in the near future is about what it means to call yourself a biont hacker. So there's a thing known as a biont hacker, BIONT hacker. And I came across this with the group Home, Hope, and Transcriptions, Smarter Not Harder. That whole group is sort of overseen by Dr. Ted Achacoso, and he and his group came up with this term. And there's a video that describes exactly what he means, and it's basically what you just mentioned. It's going away from thinking of our bodies and our our beings as being like this machine that can be hacked and tweaked and this and that, which to a certain degree that is true, but that's not the whole of it. The whole of it is this symphony of things that happen with our environment, with our our energy, our thoughts, our food, our blah blah blah. Like everything matters, and that's why they're calling it Biont Hacker. And I love that. So I clipped one of their posts that describes it, and then I'm going to do something with that. Make it look good and fancy, and hopefully it hits. But that it would be something that I would love to just tack in at the end of this. But thank you for sharing that, because you get it. And we should maybe look into doing something. You should look more into, they call it the holobiontics. Holobiontics, I think, is what the whole term is called. But then, you shorten it by calling it Biont Hacker. But there will be more of that coming out. And I'm happy that there's groups that are putting that out there, so people start to understand that it's not just about tweaking the tires and the the chassis of the car, the hypothetical car, but it's more about the ecosystem, the entirety of us as powerful beings. So anyway, yeah, this has been a blast chatting with you, man.
Yeah,
and where are you off to next?
honestly, I don't know. I just finished this the biohacker conference with Dave Asprey, and I kind of purposefully didn't have the next flight of or next leg of the flight booked anywhere, so I'm still playing it by ear. There's a few ideas.
Well, if you come to New York, let me know.
All right, yeah,
All right,
I'd love to.
because there's a lot of things I'd love to do with you here, and maybe we get some content together in person. But let's definitely talk offline about like some of the things that I think would be really cool to do together. I'm here for it, bro. Like, I'm really happy that we connected. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for creating the one device, and I look forward to whatever is on the horizon with what you guys are doing. And I thank you as the listener and the viewer. I hope you are as well. So, oh, and by the way, I should mention this. We don't know what the code is yet, unless you do.
We do, Josh.
So we have a discount code. Yeah. So for those of you that are into discount codes, why not? Especially now that the holiday seasons are around the corner, people are looking for different tools and devices to get their loved ones and their friends and their family. I think this would be, if somebody got me this as a gift, I would be on the floor, right? And yeah, maybe meditating. But yeah, this would be really awesome. And what not a better way than to give a discount. And keep in mind, you get your money back if you're not happy. So leverage that. Let me know if you have any questions. And Dmitri, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Walk the talk, talking facts. Move like me, but I move a little fast. Make my move, here to last. Fasten these seatbelts, I'm coming past. Take care of me, longevity. Hack my biology, better believe. Walking the talk, soul, mind, and body connected. Better come give us a listen. Better come give us a minute or two. Open the box up, we giving you tools. Giving your engine the fuel that it needs. Breathing into it, it's autoimmune. Make a connection, we're stronger in two. Making us one of a kind of a few. Work on the mind, but show me your moves. If you do what you say, you know what to do. Yeah.
Simply walk the talk.